Hello. Hey everybody. We are back online. I have a different setup, so I'm looking down at the table. I'm finding that that's not, or the camera, so it's not super efficient, but I'm going to keep it here. I have to admit I'm a little bit terrified coming on here today. Got a little rusty from doing the daily tune-ins and then going into a bit of a different part of this exploration, this experiment than I was expecting to go. So we are in June 30th. It's the last day of June. It's the last day of the 3 months the 90 days that we were asked to intentionally focus on these 3 months. And it was April, May, and ending in June. When I started this, when this idea and this this request came through to take this journey, to take this experiment, what I knew at that point was that it was for a way for me to really tune into this transformative um, process of making change, of bringing in change, of really creating an intimate relationship with change and the process in these 3 months to fully understand and embody that change has a process. And when we know that process, we can navigate the process in the highest and best good for ourselves. And this 3 months, really, with the help of all of the energies that we have taken in and acclimated to, and continue to take in and do our best to acclimate to, we have been kind of pushed really quickly through the transformational change so that we could experience it in a fast way. So I'm going to break it down a little bit, and then I'm going to take it into what my own personal experience was with these 3 months, because there was a point in there where everything went rogue as far as how I thought this was going, which was when I went quiet and went silent for a couple of weeks in these last few weeks here. And there was a very divine purpose in it, although it was extremely frustrating for me not showing up here every day to do a daily tune in. And I also know that it was uncomfortable for some of you as well, because you were kind of like, where are we? What are we doing? You were vested in this. And so I want to explain kind of that weird state that was part of this whole experiment, and how I experienced it and what it all means. So at the beginning of the first 30 days, really, of this 90 days, sorry, I'm kind of working through energy in my throat, and I can't quite get it cleared. So the first 30 days, we were really focused on the consciousness of the plot twist. Remember, we talked about the plot twist and what we intended. Where are we going? So really, we were toying with the idea of intentionally choosing a plot twist in order to go in the direction of the highest timeline that we could feel into. So the plot twist really, when I got into it, I was waiting for it to come in from the outer world. And for some of you that did happen. I know on the Ascension Bank calls in those first 30 days, we were all talking about different weird things that were showing up. Like the cosmic 2x4 sending in inconvenient life things that we had to deal with. So there's a plot twist. I know when I first started this, I had gotten that opportunity to go in the direction of a kind of a new career as an investigative journalist, which tapped into and touched on a lot of parts of my body and my being that loves adventure, that wanted to be a change. And at the same time, I really had to sit and use the discernment of my heart as to whether or not that was the right plot twist for me. Turns out it was not, simply because I didn't want to go undercover. I don't want to. I've worked so hard, and we all have worked so hard to become who we are and to learn how to be in the world as ourselves. And then to choose something where I go and hide didn't feel resonant. So that was really surprising. So that plot twist kind of moved on. Then we moved in. So when that moved on, I kind of just knew that there was something else that was ruminating. And at the same time, here in this community, we had the Ascension Bank. The Ascension Bank was for the our community here to come together in a more intimate space to really talk through how we're moving through each week, and having it be a very healing circle for all of us, a healing gathering every week. And it's been a beautiful, beautiful group. And also at the same time, I kept getting the nudge that there's more for the Ascension Bank. There's more. So then we went into the second month, and the second month was all about, we kind of covered the consciousness of what are we creating. The second month, the second part of transformation then is really getting in touch and intimate with the frequency of that higher timeline you're working towards. So all April, May, in May was all about the emotional well-being, taking care of yourselves, taking care of ourselves, nurturing our souls, nurturing our spirits, paying attention to what ideas, what new information, what new data was coming in from all of these new energies that have been flooding in. And as they flood in, they amplified our thoughts and our feelings. So it was really important in the month of April, or in the second part of transformation. We're not talking months here. So come to a higher level where we're talking about these stages of transformation. The second stage is the emotional part, where you're balancing out and resonating and getting your body and getting your mind and your spirit all in the resonance of a higher timeline. And as that happens, then the way that I have it pictured is when your spirit comes in, you got your consciousness right. And what I mean by that, you got your consciousness right in that it is lined up and it is aware of where you're going. What is that plot twist that you designed? For me, the plot twist was, work wise. What is my work? How does it expand? Where do I go from here? I felt a growth coming, but I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know where to go. So the consciousness that I set at the beginning of this experiment was, take me to where my heart expands in the reality of doing work that I love, and it's easy, and it's me, and it's expressed fully through me, and I can't stop talking about it. I am ready to nurture something that just is juicy as anything. But I didn't know what that was. So all in the month of April and May, I just got good with being in the unknown. When June came around, that's when everything started to kind of organize. There were some weird messages that I got that I thought, oh, is something coming together? A streaming network came, and we were talking about the daily tuning going there. I didn't jump on it simply because I have a lack of trust at the moment for all of the 3D world kind of things, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to go in that direction. So I sat, and the sitting got so uncomfortable. I did not know I didn't have new information for you all. I didn't have anything. I just had to sit in the unknown and the discomfort of it for weeks and be quiet. Part of the transformative journey is when you know you've done all the work in your creative mind and in your emotions to get everything healthy, to get everything aligned, to get everything resonant. There comes a point where you have to just sit in that 0 point. The painful part of it is, in this human existence, in this 3D world, for things to organize into reality takes linear time. We don't know how long that is. So sitting in that 0 point, not wondering, when is it happening, what's going on out there, let me get my phone, let me check in, but to literally tune out of everything, to tune into and just be in that reality, that imaginative reality at the moment, and in that resonance of that new timeline. That's where I have been. For the last 2 or 3 weeks, I have been sitting in that resonance, not allowing anything to permeate that is below that resonance. That has been hard. That has been difficult. That has been challenging. And that has also gotten easier and easier. And then it's gotten harder and harder. So these last 3 weeks, sitting in the discomfort of saying, something is coming into my world. I can feel its resonance in my field. It is close. I can feel in the resonance that it's something to be really excited about. And I know that because I've set the consciousness of a plot twist showing up in my life that was so beautifully created and so beautifully orchestrated in consciousness first that it can't not be good. I can't not be excited about it. So at the same time, it seems the world is crumbling down. I have tuned that world out completely. The world that I wanted to fight against, the world that I wanted to, the world that I wanted to expose, and the world that I'm ready for to be disclosed, that has gotten more and more distance as I've let it go and sat in the consciousness of whatever this new thing was. Last week was one of the most intensive weeks I think of my life. I don't know. That might be a little dramatic, but because it's so fresh. But that last week, the physicality of this manifestation of this 3 weeks, I'm sorry, this 3 months, these 90 days is coming into clarity. And last week I had a go round with the universe and these energies, and it was just pouring in, purging migraines. I got to the point where I completely surrendered and said, I cannot figure this out. I am done. And in that moment, I fell asleep. I surrendered and I fell asleep. And as I fell asleep, I just prayed and just said, just make it obvious for me because I can't figure it out. The next morning, last Saturday, I woke up, I came out to the balcony, and all of a sudden I sat there. And it was as if in my imagination, I was being shopped options for this next timeline, for the plot twist. I was being given different timelines as options. And they were coming in. Priya, hey, sorry, she's just licking. They were coming in so beautifully. And as I connected into each option, I could rise up and go down the timeline and see where it went. And each option that I was given, that I saw, was an option that was so beautiful. And these options were as far as like how the work is packaged. What is my mission moving forward in this new version of me, in this new life, this new world that I'm ascending into? Because I say I'm ascending into because I feel more peaceful than ever. I feel more joy. I feel more happiness. I feel more grounded in who I am. So already I am already living in a higher expression of myself because I feel that. Now, what I get to do from that place is build the world, build the world. And the biggest thing that I want to build for first is, where am I going to spend my time? What do I want to be doing for myself? And when it came down to it, I came to realize as I looked at all of these options, the most powerful option for me is the one that has worked for me for all my life. And it is the one that is to tune into the things that make me have fun, the things that make me laugh, and the things that make my heart expand. This is where the message becomes about you, because through my experience with understanding this process, what we're now moving into is where we nurture our visions. We nurture what comes to us. We nurture the timeline we have just chosen. We finished up, and the next 3 months we nurture that only. What I will be nurturing is the ideas, the timeline that I have now said yes to, I've accepted into my reality, into my field. the idea that I think matches me as much as anything else has ever matched. And what I mean by that is I finally just in my surrender, I said, I just want to have fun with life. I'm tired of the healing journey, and it's not because it's done for me. It's simply I get it. Whenever something comes up, I know how to move through it. I don't hesitate. I go right through it and I get there. So I don't have to remain in that conversation and learn and understand it. I will always be in the healing conversation. But I'm to the point now where these last few years, my a lot of my life has been a lot of work emotionally to get through. And how I've survived, my survival mechanism has always been to turn to the storehouse. And in that storehouse was always something fun for me to do, something for me to tune into that made me lighthearted, whether it was going into nature, whether it was going to the beach, whether it was getting together with friends, whether it was doing something creative, whether it was just sitting and journaling, whether if it was just sitting in the stillness, whether it was going to a spiritual center and immersing myself in a beautiful message. All of that was my storehouse, and that is what sustained me my entire life. It wasn't money that sustained me. It was the storehouse of good, that when it came to me, I'd be like, thank you, God. Thank you, God. I'm going through this horrible divorce or whatever. I'm going through this, and this. But that moment felt so good. And that moment would just blast me open and sustain me until the next one came. And what I found is no matter how shitty things got in my life, there was never a day that I didn't have some happiness and some joy that I tuned into or I saw. And I was so grateful for it. And if I then tune into just that, how much greater will life feel for me when I am living life as myself and inviting people into that world who want to come in and we hang out and we have fun. The storehouse is coming into physical reality here in this world because that is the timeline I have chosen. And it literally came in 3 or 4 days ago, right at the end of this 3-month experiment. But for the entire 3 months, I think I even said this maybe out loud on the first couple of daily tune-ins on this 90 days, is this 3 months is going to feel like majority of it. And when I say 3 months, the process of transformation feels like you sit and do nothing and wait and sit in the discomfort for majority of it. And it's the final phase that you shoot up like the bamboo, right? I think we talked about that. Bamboo just sits there and sits there and sits there like nothing's working. I think I used the lily pad metaphor where there's these ponds, and in the beginning of a 30-day cycle, there'll be nothing on the pond. There'll be about one lily pad, and it'll just sit there for half the month, and then all of a sudden there'll be like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, and then by day 30, but it'll be like 25 days, 26 days, there's no lily pads, and by 30 days the whole thing's filled. It just multiplies, expands, and all of the growth comes at the very last minute. That's how this is too. That's how transformation processes are. So for the last 90 days of majority of them, 80 85 of them have been like, is anything happening? Except I knew things were happening because I had been aware of energy and I understood what's happening. In those last couple of days is when the knowing and the options came, and I chose one. That's what's happening for you as well. With these energies coming in, they are beyond anything that I have ever felt. Literally physically taken both Bud and I out, purging, throwing up, migraines. It's been a really physically grueling week here. There's been no clouds in the sun. It's been full on sun. It's just white beaming light, and especially when in the afternoon it comes off of the water and just floods us with white light. Priya, the dogs have been antsy. They've been kind of jittery. So these energies are really rumbling a lot of people. They're rumbling things loose. For those of us who've been on the healing journey and have more light, or holding more light, what's coming loose is our remembrances. The consciousness that is us in the highest expression is now peppering us, sprinkling us with newer and newer light. And as these light codes come in from these massive, like just floods of energy. They're coming in with a lot of data. And as that data comes in, it kind of sits here for a minute. And then as we just sit in the silence, put the phone down, just sit in the silence. It can be painful, I get it. But that's the only way I have found to let all of this is what these migraines have been about. So much energy and data and information and light that's waiting to settle into your beingness. But the silence and the stillness is how it starts to settle in. And then you rest. And as you rest, your mind clears, and then it settles in even more. So when you wake up, you are refreshed and you're starting to get new ideas. If you wake up and grab a screen and you're on it all day or for hours and hours, you're going to miss the understanding and the data that's in those energies. It is really important to turn the stuff off. That is the biggest message I have gotten. And it hasn't been hard one at all, because my being would not allow me to pick up the phone for a couple of weeks. I would just sit there and I'd be like, oh, I just can't do it. I can't do it. I'd have to put it back down. So there's this really weird thing that's happening. And we are becoming new beings. We are rising up. We are being called to what it is we are here to do. One last thing I want to cover is the conversation around ascension, because I've also noticed a really unhealthy imbalance that in the community, in the ascension conversation, and in that community. And I'm going to address it simply because that I have a voice now. But one of the things that I've noticed is a lot of hype, a lot of excitement, a lot of anticipation, a lot of attention and awareness being put on when's it coming, when's it coming, when's it coming, the Flash, what about the Flash, what about the Flash? There's so much conversation about the Flash that why I am frustrated with this conversation in the community is because what we're forgetting is our consciousness creates the reality by always saying, when is it coming? When is it coming? Probably next week on July 7th. Oh, this, oh, this. We keep putting our attention outside of ourselves on an event that we are depending on to break the discomfort that many of us are feeling. And at the same time, also tuning into how uncomfortable we are by consistently talking about symptoms. As I've been in it's been about a year that I've been active in this conversation. And what I'm noticing is it is time for us to move to the next stage of the ascension process. Ascension is not just this time period we are in. It has been around for millennia. We ascending souls, evolution of souls is what ascension is. It just so happens to be that we are here during this pivotal time when we get to ascend in physical form to a higher dimensional reality. That is really cool. But at the same time, we can't get lost in waiting for that to solve the problems. We don't know how long it's going to be. I'm not going to give dates. I don't think we're getting out of here anytime soon. I think we are getting how we're getting out of here is getting a whole new program system that shows us how to live in this physical world until the flash does happen, until the split does happen, which I do believe is going to be in our lifetime, but I'm not sure it's going to be in the next couple of years. So we have got to understand how we live our life fully in this world as it is. And as it gets better and better, we have to be the ones that put the boundary around our world, put the bubble around our world, and stay focused on all that is sacred, all that is fun, all that fills our souls, all that expands our hearts, all that bring us together in communal, unified consciousness with a higher intelligence, where we are looking to heal ourselves, to live fully expressed, to be the beacons of light, to show others how to do that so that we create our own world. That is what I am going to go do. And I'm going to do that in the fullest expression of me. I'm not ready yet to announce what this is because I'm taking my time, spending my time with the consciousness of this timeline. The consciousness of this timeline is my higher self that has already designed, that it always has already created this beautiful timeline. And what I am doing is sitting quietly with the consciousness and with this timeline in my heart so I can get to feel it really good, so I can get really familiar with it, so I can get really intimate with what this next phase is. I have a name for it, and it has to do with the storehouse. And the storehouse is developing a consciousness. I'm getting really intimate with this beautiful entity, this beautiful being that is going to be the next iteration of where we hang out if you resonate with it, because it's going to be social, it's going to be fun. We will always have a little space for healing, but where the Ascension Bank was made for healing, this next phase is now expanding into where we have a healing phase, but now we have a fun phase, and now we have an adventure phase, and now we might be traveling together, and now we might be creating together. So we're expanding into all the different ways in our human life that we can explore fun, we can explore community, we can explore laughter, we can explore just our creative sides, and we can come together and heal, but from a different angle, and do it from expansive fun. I'm going to make this world lighthearted again, y'all, because it's gotten pretty heavy. And if you'd like to join me in that lighthearted fun, just stay tuned here. When it's time, I will come back out and I will let you know when this new timeline is emerging, and I will invite you to join me. Until then, I want to thank you for being here, for being a support to the Daily Tune In, for all of you who have supported and sent donations in. You sustained me. Thank you. I appreciate it. And now I'm turning my attention over to the storehouse, and I'm going to allow it to be. It's going to sustain me. I'm no longer looking outside of myself. I'm no longer trying to design something that I think people will like. I am designing something that I will like to hang out in. I am going to build a space for me to hang out and play and do all the things that I like to do. And anybody who wants to come into my playhouse can come, and we can be weird together, and we can have deeper conversations, and we can laugh a little bit, more like a lot, and just be free spirited, be the people we're here to be. That's where I'm going to be. So thank you for being here, y'all. Kazembe, hi, sweet soul. I've missed seeing your name in London. What a life-changing 90 days. It really has been, it has been life-changing. And a lot of it has all been, I'm still have the same background here. I'm not so sure it's going to be around for much, much longer. But a lot of the life-changing things have been within. And there's been a lot of changes. We all have them. We've had people fall out of our lives that we weren't expecting. Deaths have been unexpected. Deaths have happened in this 90 days. Our world has completely, like, it feels like it's completely changed, but it's just completely changed in that it's just gotten even noisier. And it is time for me to tune out of the noise, tune out of conventional stuff, and really tune into the most sacred part, which is enjoying every moment of this life, because I'm pretty certain it's going to be my last go round here on this planet. So I intend to go enjoy it and see it for how I want to see this planet and this life, and that is as an abundant source, a storehouse of all beauty, all abundance, power, joy, love, all of the things that it was created in, and the idea that it was created to support us, to sustain us. And I'm going to be part of that world. So if you'd like to join me, stay tuned here. When I am ready to announce the next phase, I will let you know. And at that point, you can decide if it's for you or not. Thank you all for being here. I truly appreciate your support, and I appreciate your eyeballs and your hearts. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Mwah. Thanks.